It's Blue, baby, and I'm a modern day Renaissance man. Literally know a lot about a lot. Jack of all trades, master of many.
All right. And I'm Olivia Dope, DJ, artist, and Jane of all trades, the creative's creative. And this is Blue Dope. So we officially decided to relaunch. We originally started in 2017, and we are coming back with full force with an entire team. We're ready to do this.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Shout out to Major Theory. And for all our listeners out there, we created Blue Dope to really give our audience insight into successful paths. You know, our goal is for you, our listener, to learn from our guests and apply that to your journey. I mean, we're going to have a plethora of guests from our community for you to listen into and, you know, connect with one of those paths.
What's great is that we might have a photographer on here, or there might be like a key entrepreneur, chef, but the important thing is it's someone that's bringing their brand and their craft to the forefront and giving great insight.
And the crazy thing is, you know, it's between Dope and I, we have so many successful people that are just all around us. I mean, you go through either one of our phone books and you just be like, yo, you wish you had our contacts. So I think that's one of the things we're going to bring in. And it's us sharing in these conversations all the valuable things they've learned and just bringing it right back to you.
So we thought it would be cool to just, and most sensible thing to do would be to interview each other and you guys know who we are and start off the interviews that way. Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be interesting doing it this way, but I'm going to go right into it. Firstly, I don't really remember when we met. Like, I just know that I just knew, hey, we're both from Brooklyn, both West Indian, both went to the same college, have a love for music and music related things, but kind of remember when I first remember you. So I'm going to ask you, do you remember when we met?
I do not. I think for me, it was always like, okay, you see somebody on the Unispan, you see somebody at Hofstra in the student in the campus life and stuff like that. And I mean, the Black community was pretty small. We're PWI, so everybody knew everybody. So honestly, I can't really pinpoint most of the friends that I had at Hofstra. I can't pinpoint when I met them. I just know I know this person third. Yeah.
So what's funny for me is, like, I feel when I like really put, you know, after pass and whatever, I feel like I really put a name to the face more after I left. I mean, I was really getting into the rap thing more and more, and someone invited me to perform at one of the shows. And what was funny was I remember you first as Tamika the dancer, right? that was like my real, okay, who's that one dancer? She's doing her thing up there. And I gotta ask, I mean, what was that? Was dance really your first love? Because that's how I knew you first.
Oh yeah, for sure. Dance from the time I was able to walk, it was always about dance. That was the career choice. Like, you couldn't tell me that I wasn't going to be a famous dancer and dancing background for Janet. Like, there's no one in this world that could have told me, oh, you're not going to be doing otherwise at all. So, like, yeah, dance was definitely the first love. And I really started trying to actively pursue it when I got to Hofstra professionally.
So before, you weren't doing no training. It was just like, I'm here and this is what's going on.
I mean, yeah, because I didn't want to go to college.
I feel you. I was in that same place at one point. I
got into Hofstra. I think I got into Hofstra and Brooklyn College, and my parents were like, "Gosh, it's such a great school." Da da da. I definitely had the whole Denise Huxtable conversation with them. Like, I do not want to go. I want to go explore and do my thing. I'm saving y'all money. What y'all mad at for? Kind of thing.
They're like, "Nah, you going."
Yeah, like, they're like, "Nah, your ass is going. We taking you to this orientation tomorrow." Like, no.
Get used to it. I mean, and what was that? The Imani dancers you were with? Like, what was the crew?
Imani.
Was that your crew?
No, that was that actually is a campus group or club that's been there since 1972.
Okay. Real talk, I feel like that's so Long Island. You hear Imani Malik, straight Long Island. Like everyone in Long Island knows about that.
They've been an institution at that school for at least 2 decades before we got on it. And we just kind of took it to another level the time that we were there, because we went and performed on the opener stage for Summer Jam. And we were doing like a lot of different things that, you know, for a club on campus to be doing that's kind of out of the box. So
that's big. It's huge. That's huge.
It's big.
There's a lot of people they could pick to put on, you know?
Exactly. So like it was really, really cool for us to be doing all that stuff. But I remember seeing you at we used to have open mic events on campus.
Stuff like that.
What was the name of the something element? What's it called?
Oh my goodness. I think that was like Fifth Element or something like that.
Yeah, it was a number. But they used to have, like open mics and stuff like that. I do remember seeing you in that at that sector, and we had a lot of MCs on campus too. A couple of dope ones too, but yeah, like
shouts to Drastic.
Shout out to Drastic for sure. Des, yeah, we had a lot of dope people, like dope creatives on campus. So speaking of that, Blue Steel. How did that start? Like, what made you want to get into the rap game?
I mean, I feel like every kid from Brooklyn has that aspiration, right? And you know, it's just like you could live so close to Biggie, you live so close to Hov, and you feel like it's just in your nature. And I mean, for me, I really started doing it when I was like 11, 12. And I'd say by the time I was like 18, even before high school, I was at Temple. I went to Temple for a year. And out there, I got introduced to stages. And that was like a whole nother field, because you kind of just scribble in your notepads and you might record on your home computer, etc. And it's a whole nother vibe once you're in front of people and doing freestyle battles. I'm the kid from Brooklyn. I'm in another state. I have to represent. And that pressure comes with it. And I was able to perform in front of people and rise to the occasion. And that feeling gets addictive. And I'm gonna say shout out to my boy Odyssey. When I came back to Brooklyn after my first year at Temple, I went into my first real studio, and it was in East New York. And I mean, there were guys there. This is before they were known, but like Papoose and Uncle Murder, like this is where they recorded. And my boy I knew him from another boy. And, you know, I think the first time I went in the booth, some other cat, I couldn't even tell you who it was. They allowed me to spit 4 bars on their like song, like literally 4 bars. And I went in and I smoked those 4 bars. And then after that, it became a thing where I got introduced to studios, and it was a fun ride doing that.
Oh. So what's your background, family-wise, nationality?
So everyone thinks I'm Puerto Rican or Dominican, right? But
I know people usually
I am
make the
Trini to the bone
that, yes.
all day. People speak to me in Spanish all the time, but you know, Trini to the bone, and got that Venezuelan blood, if anything. But my culture is Trini all the way. Like I eat my roti, I'm listening to soca. I'm going down there, and I'm having a good time at all the fests, you know, up here, down there. So, and you also West Indian.
Yeah, Guyanese.
There you go. GT massive.
GT massive. The whole entire family, mom, dad, and everybody's Guyanese. So yeah.
That's it. Everybody's either from GT or Berbice. That's what I've come to understand.
You're either from Georgetown or you're from Berbice. Like I guess everything else is like, you know, rainforest. So yeah.
So somehow our families made it to Brooklyn, like many people from our area, right down there in that tropical paradise. They came up here into the snow, and we both ended up in Long Island, right? But how do you go from Tamika the dancer to DJ Fly Mommy? Because that's what I remember. I remember DJ Fly Mommy.
So it was a long journey. So pretty much at Hofstra, I started to pursue dance professionally, dancing background for artists. Chris Brown, Shaggy, Mac Miller.
Wow.
The last artist that I actually work with. But in the interim of dancing professionally, I realized that dancers are overworked and underpaid. Severe. Like, I would love to be at the forefront of that fight for that cause.
Okay.
But it's tough. It's tough to see like all these amazing, especially now where you can see all their Instagram pages and how much time, energy that they put into their work and their craft and making concept visuals and all that stuff, whatever. And these people are talented, but when they're set dancing for Beyonce or dancing for whomever, you know, they're getting paid $250 a day or something like that. It's wild. It's really, really wild. So for me, learning that, yeah, like nah, like I'm not
the whole day.
I'm not even trying to exaggerate. It's some wild shit like that. So knowing that back in back in like 2005, 2006, kind of dancing and learning that, I was like, this is not for me, because I've put in so much work since I was 3 years old to build this craft. For somebody to tell me what it's worth, I can't live with that. I have to be in a position where I'm in control of my talent and what I'm bringing to the world, and you know what's the price on that. So I was like, I can't be a background dancer. I can't be a dancer for hire. So I was just like, okay, let me look for another creative career path, because I know it has to be creative. Started turning for Legendary Damon, who is a nightlife guru, doorman,
legend,
party and club curator, like some of the biggest parties that has happened in New York City in the early 2000s. Well, yeah, in the early 2000s to like the 2010s, like he's been a part of that. And I started interning for him. While interning for him, I started to get familiar with the DJs that he worked with, like DJ MOS, D-Nice. I met around that time too. And I saw that, they're not just playing like hip hop. They're playing like everything within a 2-hour time span. Like I heard Journey. I'm hearing like Biggie. I'm hearing like so many different genres of music, and it all like it's curated in such a great way. I think I want to do this, because I mean, my musical knowledge is just as great as theirs, so why not? So that's where the interest in DJing came from. Like, I was like, okay, let's get this going.
I'm gonna say when I first saw you become a DJ, I was skeptical, because I felt like, it's another DJ, and honestly, your DJ name was whack. Like, it was whack, B. I was like, she for real now? Fly mommy. Like, she could think of something better than that.
Luckily for me, I realized that it was whack too, and nobody had to tell me. I mean, granted, it would be nice if you told me at that time that, I realized it on my own. Like, that's kind of not getting anywhere with that. But
there you go.
Luckily for me, Scandal came around every Thursday night. Tweet me and be like, you look like Olivia Pope or Kerry Washington, and I was like, all right, I'll play off of that. She's
What's crazy was I never saw the resemblance until you changed the name, and I was like, this makes sense. I never saw it, and I knew who she was, because I mean, she did the stuff like Chris Rock, that movie, what was it called? I Think I Love My Wife, stuff like that. That was a dope movie, and I knew who she was,
So, urbanoverdose.com.
You went digging.
No. I didn't have to dig, because I remember seeing.
Oh, wow.
I remember, like, because we were all on Facebook, but once upon a time, we were all still on Facebook on a regular basis. Like, you can keep up with what, people in your atmosphere, what your friends are doing. And I remember seeing Urban Overdose, and I was like, okay, I see the transition, rap artist, and now you're interviewing, and what was kind of cool to me was you're independent doing this. This is not, this wasn't you, a part of, Vlad TV. I mean, Vlad TV didn't exist back, but like not a part of a big, like say like Global Grind or something like that, but you still had access to great interviews of people that were notable artists and creatives at that time. So like, how did you get into that?
So, I mean, what's kind of crazy was that was really the point where I realized I could collide everything that I liked or even thought I liked when it came to the music industry, because I'm recording as an artist. I'm doing shows, I'm performing, I'm getting access because I'm doing these shows, right? I'm meeting your Funk Flexes, I'm meeting your Cypher Sounds, I'm meeting your K Slays of the world that are in that circuit. And in the middle of all of it, people wanted to interview me because I'm an independent artist on the come up. So I did an interview. One of my best friends, Sherry Andrews, I'm gonna shout her out. Statement Peace NY. She interviewed me because she was modeling at the time, knew someone who had a show in Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan, Bronx. So I said, no doubt. I went, did the interview. Dude named Roland Hyde, he really took a liking to me. And Roland Hyde, he was directing like 10 shows at one point, just really all across New York City on all of the local cable networks. And he had this idea that I would have never thought of in 1,000 years. He said, hey, Blue, you want your own show? And I said, you know what? Why not? Because if I could learn that, and the most invaluable thing, I mean, we had people on the show. Lady Luck was one of the first artists who accepted an interview. I literally interviewed her in her crib. And I knew her from nowhere. She said, just come to the crib, interview me. All right, cool. So we packed up. But I mean, Styles P showed love. We had Hitmaker, right? Back then, he was Youngberg. Youngberg was on the show. It's funny, you danced for Shaggy. Shaggy's been on my show. Tanya Stevens. We did so many things back then. And I got to meet a lot of these legends. Luciano, who's big in his own genre of reggae. And but the greatest thing of that, not only did I get to do these interviews and get the experience, Roland Hyde taught me videography and photography. And he's a self-taught, he was a middle-aged Jamaican man at the time. He's still middle-aged now. I'm not going to, but he taught me just kind of everything from videography. And I'd go to his crib and literally we'd start at like 11 p.m. and I'm sitting there, he's teaching me how to edit. It's like 5 a.m. I'm still there. We editing, going through the episode and yada, 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 yada. And then he just gave me the camera like, all right, you do this. You tape. You take the picture.
That was going to be the next question. Like, how do you go from these two creative platforms to photography, which isn't completely left field, but is definitely a totally different market?
So what's funny was, Roland taught me how to do photography, but it wasn't enough, to your point, for me to go and pick up a camera and say, I want to do this as a profession. But what really ended up happening was, as an artist trying to build my press kit, I was going to different photographers. They were trying to charge me crazy rates. And I'm like, cool, with those 4 outfits, I could literally just go buy a camera instead of paying you for a 4-outfit shoot. So that's what I did. I went and bought a camera, and I had my same friend, Sherry, who was my co-host. She took my first photo shoot. So I had like 3 outfits planned. Boom, I could get my mixtape cover out of that. I could get at the time, my MySpace promotion, everything from those pictures. And it was my girlfriend, who's now my wife, who kind of said, yo, you spent how much on a camera? Like, you better break even. Like, just straight like that. And so at that point, that's when I started doing it for other people. And it was funny. The first person I ever shot for was this artist named Q the Prophet. And Q is a gospel rapper. So it's kind of funny. So I shot Q. I charged Q like $25 an outfit. And it was my first joint, right? So we do it, and then all of a sudden, because he won an award in like gospel rap, I didn't know anything about gospel rap, and because of that, all of a sudden that whole circuit wanted me to shoot with them. So the second person was my boy Richard Dolphin. And Richard Dolphin, he's real respected. He was a secular rapper who got saved and started doing gospel rap. So I started getting in this circle and I'm getting bookings and bookings and bookings. And it turned into just a word of mouth thing where people knew I was that guy with the camera and I already knew a lot of people. And then my friends who had kids already were like, yo, you could shoot this birthday party for me. That turned into, hey, you could shoot this Sweet 16. It turned into, hey, you could shoot this wedding. And then once you're talking weddings, you're talking big money. So it was one of those things where, all right, if the money's there, I'm going to go after it. And as I was doing it, it kind of found me. I didn't know I had the eye. And then once people saw the product, they saw the picture, they said, wow, like, I like this. You made me look good. And I just kept getting deeper and deeper into it.
Because even just as the bystander friend that's just, seeing on Instagram, I'm always very, very curious, especially somebody like you, to go into the behind the scenes life of the creative when you've always been at the forefront. So I never knew that story. I'm glad I know it now.
It's a hard transition, right? And I think you always want to get back to it, right? And I mean, it kind of, when we talk about our past, right? DJ Fly Mommy's going, yo, Olivia dope. And I'm on the sidelines. I'm watching you advance. And then all of a sudden, I realized like what you were doing was very real. Once I'm seeing names like Jennifer Hudson just partying and clubbing and really enjoying your craft. Like you're making her move. And it's enough that she's telling everyone about this Olivia dope.
She was definitely the first huge star that hired me in the capacity that she did. Like nice. it was literally on some, okay, she heard me play. I think it was a party for Damon or something like that. No, I don't even think she heard me play. We met at a performance she did. We met backstage and we would just kind of like hit it off and just energy, vibes, personalities. We hit it off. She knew I DJ'd. She heard me DJ. She hired me to DJ a birthday party she had she had her birthday party. I think her 35th birthday party. I DJ'd that. And then maybe like 2-3 weeks later, she was like, oh yeah, I want you to DJ at my house. I'm having a dinner party. Meanwhile, the dinner party is all of 8 people.
Oh, wow.
8 people.
So you got to make 8 people move.
Not even move. They're eating dinner. Like I'm really just playing music.
You're playing jazz.
Yeah, no, well, not jazz. We like Stevie Wonder and stuff, whatever. But like, like just playing good R&B mute music. It's Jennifer Hudson, so of course you would want to hear like the greats. So I guess I didn't know like what the dinner party was for. She's just like, it's a small intimate dinner party. We're having it at my house. We want you to play music for like an hour. And
she had a COVID party.
She had a COVID party before COVID. It was like 2005. Yeah, 2015. She had a COVID party before COVID. So like she was just like very vague about who was going to be there. So I get there and it's the cast of The Color Purple. She had a special party. I guess they were launching their first show as the cast of Color Purple. So she decided to have an intimate party celebrating the show. So I met Cynthia Erivo. I met the entire cast of Color Purple, played for all of an hour. And then they had a jam session on the piano, started singing and having a good time and harmonizing. It was really nice. It was really.
You
really
ain't try to hop in on that?
Hell yeah, I tried to hop in on this. I can't sing, but damn right, I was shoo-doo-doo-doo. So, yeah.
Oh man, that's crazy.
It's definitely a story for the grandkids, for sure, for sure.
That detail is so crazy, but yo, I gotta say, out of all the people that I've seen you around, I gotta hear about Janet.
Janet is super shy. She's a girl after my own heart because she is extremely shy. Like it's almost it's almost scary how shy she is.
Kind of like Michael.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Michael, honestly.
Wow.
She the first time I saw her, I went to her concert that she had, State of the World concert that she recently had, maybe like 2 years ago. Went front row, everything, like up close, like I'm seeing Janet's beats.
Yes.
That's my second time seeing Janet in concert, and I'm just like super up close. So I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, this is everything. Like she artist, performer, everything. God is good. A couple months later, have the opportunity to DJ a party for her single release.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, I remember.
And that woman was hiding behind a wall. That's how shy she
At
is.
her own party.
At her own party.
It's her release and she's hiding.
But I get it because I feel like I'm natural. I don't feel like I am naturally shy. In like meeting people, it takes me a while to warm up. I'm not that shy, but as Jen, but it takes me a while to warm up to people. But if a camera or like music is involved, performance is involved, I come alive.
You're on.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, yo, if it wasn't for Beyonce, Janet would just be my number one still. I think that's the only person that took Janet out that spot for me. But yo, I loved Janet Jackson growing up, man. I love Janet. And yo, one of the dopest things you ever did, yo, Pleasure Principle is my favorite video of all time. We spoke about sometimes, you know, going behind the scenes, right? You're a DJ, but then all of a sudden we see those moments of your dance just pop out of nowhere. So why did you redo Pleasure Principle your own way?
I mean, the love of dance is always going to be there. I'm just not pursuing it in the way that, you know, other dancers would, because I mean, they're pursuing it as a career. I'm in the mind frame of doing it as a creative outlet at this point in time. And that's pretty much it. So every once in a while, I mean, I'm still a creative and I still want to do like, you know, different visuals and projects and stuff. And that was one of them. I felt inspired by, I mean, I love Janet, love Pleasure Principle, and everything that was going on with the police brutality. I wanted to on that as well. So I used that song and a lot of visuals to, you know, kind of play a different role on that song, because the song is about being in a abusive relationship. So I used that song and the lyrical content to equate it to the abusive relationship that Black people have with police. Yeah.
Deep. It's deeper than just a dance at the end of the day.
It's deeper than just doing a little two-step in the little Janet attire. Yeah, it's a message was being sent. Yeah.
I mean, the sad part is, right, we're still in a state where that message is so relevant still. You know, and that was, you know, so much time. I mean, one thing I gotta bring up, I mean, I feel like I'm watching you from the sideline, I'm watching you bubble, I'm seeing all these things, and I watched an interview where you said you were homeless. And that threw me off because you didn't do a Facebook status on that. And I'm like, how did that happen? Like, what happened? Like,
imagine somebody doing a Facebook status on, well, all types
people
of shit.
People do.
But just dealing with, I mean, that was part of my story and my journey trying to find my career. I mean, that happened where, okay, rent can't get paid, and in a situation where, like, you know, lost my home, and I was riding the 2 train from the junction, Flatbush Junction, all the way to 241st.
Wow. And back. Wow.
Okay. Ain't nowhere to go. And I've been in the shelters. So that's why, like, when people like, why can't homeless people just go to shelters? Shelters are like jails. Shelters are literally like jails. They treat, if you come in there in the homeless shelters, you're like a prisoner. They tell you when to sleep. They tell you when to eat. Yeah, like you just have the freedom of leaving during the day to find work and do what you need to do for yourself. But it's they treat you like Rikers.
I mean, for everybody who's, you know, just seeing the success and not even understanding that moment of the story, how does one even get up out of that, right? Because so many people fall victim to situations and just stay in it. They don't know how to get out. So how did you even pick yourself up out of that and move on?
I knew when I was going through that would be a part of my success story. I literally
Wow.
was on that train and was like, during my Oprah interview,
Speak it to existence.
this is a part of the interview that I'm going to do in the next few years
Wow.
with Oprah. And this
Wow.
is just a moment. This is temporary, but this is happening because I need a really good story to give Oprah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
One way to
that's
look at it.
that mentality. Yeah, that mentality definitely helped me through that. Yeah.
I mean, so you go from that and now all of a sudden you on tours, right? So a few different artists. How'd you connect with someone like Sweetie? I mean, I know you didn't send her a snowflake or anything like that to in the DMs.
The funny thing is, like I've seen, like when I was touring with her, I would see like certain conversations that she'd have with somebody named Q. And I'm like,
Ah,
what the
what's
hell?
happening?
What happened? Who the hell is? But like I kind of from the friend and DJ standpoint, I kind of see that. Well, around that time, saw that relationship form. So it's funny to see the whole snowflake thing now and how it all started, because like when that snowflake stuff was happening, she wasn't saying much to us about who Q was. We just knew
Uh,
Q, and she
ain't,
was feeling him, and that was it. So
ain't too many cues around.
ain't too many cues around. So I'm like, I know it's not Quincy Brown. I know it's not Diddy's son. I know it's not.
Uh-huh.
I literally was like going through all the cues that I could possibly know. I was like, maybe he's not in the industry, but I think he is. Like, yeah, I was trying to decide exactly who it was.
So wait, there you go. So I mean, with that said, like, were you ever like the big sis on tour? Like, yo, you gotta leave him alone. You know, he's an industry guy. You know, you gotta be careful. Were you that big sister on the tour?
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't want to indulge too much or whatever because I don't have to, yeah. But we definitely had our moments of big sis, like yo, stay focused, sis.
Yeah.
Don't get caught up. I mean, it's easy to get caught up in these dudes because not only are they cute and young, they also very rich or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and they see you as the prize to be won. So make sure, I mean, if this is something that, because she's always wanted to, and a lot of people don't even know this, but she's always wanted to be an MC from since she was a
Wow.
teenager. She's always
Wow.
wanted that. So I'm like, yo, like people already have a stigma against you of, you're just a pretty face and stuff like that. So you don't want anything else to come and hinder, what you've worked so hard to maintain and build for yourself. So we've had our like big sis, little sis moments and stuff like that. The way I actually met her, a year before starting to DJ for her, I think like in 2000, what was that? 2017. I
Mm-hmm.
was randomly DJing at Row House in Harlem, and her manager, Max Goose,
Mm.
I didn't know him. Like I literally was DJing at that place. He was meeting someone. He heard me DJing and he was like, "You're good." Da 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 da. We exchanged information and stuff. I took his card. Um, Literally 9 months later, he was like, "I'm working with the artist. Her name is Sweetie.
Mm.
Do you want to be her DJ?"
All right. Let's roll.
Okay,
What
let's
happening?
go. Yeah. So it was Max that hooked that one up. I mean, I knew of Sweetie via Instagram and
Okay.
through, okay, we know that she dated Justin Combs and stuff like that. So I knew of her on Instagram.
Yep.
And I heard about the Icy Girl song at that time. So I was like, okay, I like her. I like her energy. I like her vibe. I'm with it.
Okay. Nice.
So that's how all of that came about. Yeah.
Nice.
Going back to wanting to be in the front of things again, right? Out of nowhere, you're an artist too. And that's something no one was expecting. It was like you got a track, yo, you dropped a video, you got the whole thing going, and all of a sudden mantra was a thing. Like, so I guess you had that itch.
We have bucket lists as people.
Okay.
That was definitely on my bucket list.
Okay.
I still don't know. I'm still not sure if I want to take myself seriously as an artist.
Okay.
I'm till this day I'm still not sure, but I just know that was always a creative outlet that I wanted to pursue. So I was like, let me do it. I'm gonna do it. So let's just do it. And if it happened, it happened. It don't. People like it, they do. Okay, cool. If they don't, all right, that's cool too. But like, I'm gonna just go for it. I've always wanted to do something like that since I was like a kid. Like just have my own music, do a video and stuff like that, see where it goes. And it's just crazy that, you know, once I actually did it, the response that it got,
People was feeling it.
People were feeling it. Like I got hit up by Clark Kent.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was like, you need to send me that song.
What?
I was like, nah, do you know who you are, my guy?
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly. I mean, he DJ legend, kicks legend. I like sneakers too, so he a kicks legend.
yeah, but he big sneakerhead. But yeah, like,
Real.
like I'm like, yo, this man has worked with Jay, Big, Fox, like everybody that I can think of in Brooklyn that is highly respected as an MC. Like this man has had a big to do with their career. For him to hit me up and be like, yo, your
Like, yo,
song
dope, I need that track.
I need that. Right. That was super, super awesome for me. So like just to see the response, like literally I put the song out and about 2 weeks later got hit up to open up for Ciara on tour.
Wow.
So
wow.
You know, it's big blessing. So it was just great to see that response. I don't know if I want to pursue it professionally yet. I think I'm still trying to figure out where my footing is creatively and sound wise. And I'm not rushing it. I feel like I have time. So I want to really get in the studio and just figure it out from here. Yeah.
I already told you, just throw me on a remix or something.
Well, let's go then. You gotta get back on your blue steel. You let us know.
But yo, I gotta talk about the fact, because you know you mentioned the blue steel, and I went to straight blue, and obviously you had the name changes. I know how I felt about my branding. How did you feel, and what was your fear when you had to rebrand yourself?
Because that's a big thing for people.
Yeah, I had no fear. I think other people tried to instill their fear on me and say, like, you shouldn't change the name. It's too close to the show. I'm like, but Spinderella exists. Like, you stole that from Cinderella, and nobody tells her that. So why is this? And even if they're like, well, what if the show like gets canceled or okay, that's
Cinderella had one movie.
Right, Cinderella had one bop, one movie.
That's it. The Seven Dwarfs ain't have no spinoffs.
Right, exactly. So like there was never any fear on my end that it wouldn't work. So I always felt confident with the Olivia Dope thing. I just was like, okay, I got to get on my P's and Q's and get it trademarked because that's about it. But speaking of names, like, yo, how I personally really want to know this. How were you able to get the name Blue?
Here's the funny story. I mean, with the whole Blue Steels thing, I really had that name just locked in. That's how I was promoting everything. I had mixtapes out. I'm spending all this money. I had the bluesteels.com, yada, 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 yada. And what ended up happening at the time, I started interning at Bad Boy. And while I was interning at Bad Boy, this is when social media really came out, and they were calling it new media. They didn't even want to call it social media yet. And my job at Bad Boy, I worked for a dude named Quasi Azare. Shout out to Quasi. He taught me a lot. I ended up managing Diddy's page. So I was literally Diddy on multiple platforms. Like, so, you know, it's funny when people are like, yo, the artists don't really be on their page. They don't be on their pages all the time. So it was me. I was Diddy. So I got to speak as Diddy. I got to do all these things. And at the same time, I'm still, and honestly, it's another thing. Like the same way I was doing the TV show, the same way I was doing photography, videography. I'm just trying to get in where I could fit in so I could meet contacts for my music career. And so I'm in there, I'm meeting people, getting to go different places. And what ended up happening was I would start getting a lot of emails, because my emails was Blue Steels or whatever it was. And then there was a DJ Blue Steel over at Def Jam. So I'm getting emails for him. He's getting emails for me. And I didn't take it serious until Neo on one of his albums in the thank yous, he thanked Blue Steel. So people like, yo, he thanking you? I'm like, nah, it's that other cat from Def Jam. And that was just a weird conversation. So I went to a lawyer. I went to this dude named Trademark Rob. Shout out to Rob Lopez. And he grew up with True Life. And he learned enough about trademarking that he wanted to give back to the community by teaching other people about it. And he started searching. He's like, yo, you and dude are both dead wrong. He's like, yo, there's a rock band in the Midwest named Blue Steel. So they already own the trademark. And I'm sitting there like, yo, like, you for real? He's like, no, I'm serious. Like, it's taken. You're both dead wrong. So he turns around and he goes, yo, you're not going to believe this, but Blue is available. I'm like, what you mean Blue's available? Just like the word, he's just like, yo, Blue is available. And BLUE. And you know what my first response was? I was like, yo, Rob, I can't change my name, bro. Like, everybody knows me as Blue Steels. Like, what you mean change my name? I gotta, like, blue.com not even available, bro. Like, like, what we doing? And he actually just was just like, nah, you gotta handle it, do it this way, trust me. And I went through the process, and like 9 months later, I got that certificate from the government. Yo, you certified. Your name is Blue. You got the trademark. And what I did with that, now you couple that with the fact I was at Bad Boy, right? I'm on Diddy's social media pages. I literally had the idea like Diddy should be on Facebook. Let's make a Facebook page for Diddy. Like, I'm the one telling my guy like, yo, this is what we should do. Yo, we used to have the number to like MySpace. Like, people want to contact Tom. Now, we could call MySpace. We could call YouTube. So I took that information, I took my documentation, and I said, yo, MySpace, I need that URL. Here you go. YouTube, I need that URL. Here you go. Instagram came out. Instagram, I need that URL. Here you go. Straight like that. And what the funniest part is, yo, I used to have Twitter. Somebody hacked me, sold it to the Indianapolis Colts, and TikTok, the mascot for the Colts, got the TikTok too. But it's funny though. But you know, when the trademarking game, we gotta have a show about trademarking for real, because a lot of people don't understand how important it is.
It's so important. It's so important.
But it really is.
You come up with an idea, like, you have to go and get it trademarked as soon as possible, because it's not a game out here. And I think a lot of creatives don't realize that. They just think that, okay, when I come up with an idea, because I came up with it and it seems like I came up with it first, I'm good. This is not how law works.
Yep. And the craziest thing, when I met Trademark Rob, what he told me was he also did Nas's trademark. And the craziest thing about that story is that, and this is all public knowledge at this point, but when he was on Columbia all those years, he never had his name trademarked, right? His name is Nasir. So he's like, yo, I'm Nas. Nah, doesn't work that way. So when he got to Def Jam is like wondering where the trademark is. And it's like, oh, it ain't trademarked. So Rob stepped in, trademark Nas. Yeah, we might have to have Rob up here one day.
Speak to Rob. Yeah.
Yep.
So,
but no, that's the Blue story.
Beyond Blue Dope, what do you have going on right now? Like, what are you working on creatively? Like, where's your mind at? I mean, because with the pandemic, we've all got put through a whirlwind, and we all had to reevaluate and try to figure out, like, okay, what's the best way to put our foot forward and not only be successful, but go for what we really want in life. So where are you creatively?
I mean, right now, one of the blessings that, again, with Rob, when I met him, we made sure that my trademark was general. So it includes a lot of different things under my trademark. And one of the things I've been working on for the last few months, I'm dropping the Blue clothing line, right? It's time for me to, in many different ways. I'm not necessarily promoting certain things anymore with my trademark, right? It might be occasional, I might do a little scribbly, scrabbly ghostwriting here and there. But when it comes to the clothing line, I am dropping the Blue clothing line, and it will be available. People will see it on my @Blue. And that's my flow. And I'm trying to make sure it's something that's a higher quality. I really aspire to be like the Kiths and the Supremes of the world and really collaborate. That's really my goal. I feel like a lot of these companies, that they're working now with the big brands, right? You might see Supreme, Louis Vuitton launch together, but there's a lot of new young brands that are coming out, and I'd like to be that connector to really work with people and drop and do some different things. So that's my goal right now with the pivot, the pandemic pivot.
Yes, that's definitely what the pandemic pivot.
And I've seen you in that space too. So we got to talk about that, because you already on go. It's already out there.
It's not a game at this point. Definitely doing a lot more collaborations, just giving a lot more of my personality. I think for all these years being shy and being just solely about being a creative, there was a lot of situations where I personally feel like I've missed out on opportunities because I wasn't being more social on social media in terms of displaying my personality. So that's where I'm at right now. Just giving more of myself in those creative spaces and building from there. So yeah, that's why I'm very, very excited for this relaunch of Blue Dope, so we can have more conversations with other creatives, because we're all in the pandemic pivot.
So, I mean, I really, that's kind of where I wanted to really leave off. Like right now, just going to the podcast game, what is your hope? What is what do you want out of this in the end of the day? Is it just for everyone to see your personality? Is that your main goal? Or what do you want out of the podcast game?
I have more conversations with creatives and just more understanding of where we're all at. I think we all have the same general standpoints and ideas of what we want out of the world when it comes to being a creative. And the more conversations that we have, the more we feel connected and more inclined to work with each other. And I think we kind of lost that along the way. So that's why a podcast like Blue Dope is important.
I feel you on that. And I'm gonna put it out there. I've been giving away a lot of free game for years. People got a lot of free game from me because of all the different things I know. So many people, they come to me, they get information. I've helped a lot of people kind of get to different routes in their own career and, help launch them. I've done so many different things and been in so many different avenues that I want a place for people to come and hear this game and understand what's going on, and for us to make this something that reaches the masses, right? And also puts monetary funds in my pocket for the game and your game, because we both know so much, right? And I think it's invaluable, the knowledge that we have. So if anything, I want our listeners to understand that they're going to learn a lot by tuning into our show, not only from us, but from everyone else that we have on as well.
Yeah, that's it.
So Dope, let's make this fun. Like, let's keep it fun and
For sure. We're definitely going to keep this going and make sure that it's fun, informative, and just all around dope.